This is our maiden voyage, and I'm just so glad that you are here to be with us. Let me just give you a little bit of background on why shake it up. You know how it is. It's a nice hot day outside. You make yourself a nice, cool drink of a lot of different fruit flavors and stuff like that. You just let it sit for a while you do your wings, and then after a while, all the good stuff just settles at the bottom of the container. And you go to drink this thing, oh, it just tastes like water. But I tell you, man, when you shake that bad boy up, everything comes to the top and everything just get mixed up and it tastes so good, so good, so good. Marriage is like that sometimes, after you've been in this thing for a while, if you don't feed it, the quality relationship just seems to settle. It just seems to settle and people get stuck, become sedentary in their relationship. And so this is the reason why we're going to do some shake up to make sure that you can get the very best out of your relationship. So thank you again for being here on the first night. This is shake up, shake up, shake up time. And so at this time, we are going to bring in our first guest. All right. And here she is.
Hi, Dr. Kid.
Hey, how are you? You sure you want to do this thing?
I'm not sure. I am not sure, but I'm here already.
Oh, come on now. You're not gonna jump ship on me, are you?
Absolutely not. I'm ready.
Oh, well, it's good to see you, Deb. Good to meet you for the first time.
Yes,
I hope this is gonna go real good. Listen, it will go good for you. Okay. So, Deb, why don't you go
absolutely.
introduce yourself? Just tell us anything you want to tell us. Tell us if you're crazy. I tell you right now, I'm crazy, so everybody knows that by now. Okay, so this is the way I do my thing because when I speak to people, I don't have time to be crying and just moping. No, this is going to be fun. Listen, I'm going to have fun. Whether you have fun or not, it's going to be up to you. Okay, it won't be at your
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're equally crazy then because I'm crazy
Oh,
and I like to have fun. And so I think this is going to be a great hour.
hey, it's going to be a great time. It'll be a great time. Okay, well, why don't you just introduce yourself to, the
Okay.
people, let them know and who you are, whatever you want to tell them, nothing is scripted. I don't know what I'm going to ask. I don't know none like that. This is just
Okay.
playing in the now. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
So my name's Deb. I'm 52 years old.
you know,
I am.
you need to stop lying though. You don't kind of show and start telling that lie. You're gonna be 52.
I promise. I promise. I was born in 1970 on the island of
You're doing
Jamaica.
right. You're right. I just did the math.
Yes. So that is correct. I
Okay.
live in the metro Atlanta area now.
Oh,
I have two adult daughters. One lives with me and one lives in New Orleans.
okay. All right. So
Yes.
okay. So
Yes.
you're living in the big ATL. Now let me tell
I
you,
am.
if you're not crazy when you get there, you'll get crazy sometimes as you're getting through this thing hereafter.
I have to
Oh,
agree with that. Well, I was already crazy when I got here, so this just made it worse, probably.
okay. Okay. Well, yeah, but again, just welcome, welcome, welcome. And you know, why shake up? This thing, sometimes you got to shake some things up to get all the good stuff off the bottom so it just flows over and everything just
Mhm,
mixes really well. And so this is
mhm.
what we're doing here. This is what I call it the shake up. It's a very important thing for us to do in all kinds of relationships. Okay. So so why don't you just go ahead and just, tell me what's bringing you on today? What do you have that's going on with you that you think needs a little bit of a shakeup so you can enjoy the blending, the mixing of everything where it tastes really good. Okay. Go ahead.
Right. There's so many things, though, Dr. Kidd. So many different relationships in my life with my dad, with my children. I'm single, so those dating relationships. So I feel like at work, all types of different things are happening and things that I think need to be shook up. It's funny that you say the shake up because we were actually talking about that in a work meeting the other day, that it's time for new. We wanted to shake things up in the election process. So just a lot of questions. Like, I've been single for a while. I've been married twice. I feel like I have a challenge in my relationship with my children. I feel like I have a challenge in my relationship with my father. I feel like there's just room for me to understand and for me to gain some tools to help me move forward in those relationships.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. You know, you know that the relationship that you have with your dad and with your children and at work and all these kind of different types of relationships. The most important relationship that you can have is
With
with
yourself.
yourself. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we tend to want to create different relationships with other people and try to understand people. But do we understand who we are? See, that's the question. Who
Mm.
am I? And so here trying to figure out how to deal with your children and your dad. So let's talk a little bit about who are you when you say, let me just slide off camera there for a moment because I like to do all my props. So here it is. Here it is.
Yeah.
Now, don't tell
Yes.
nobody. Now this is my secret weapon. Okay, it really is. I live in Alabama now, so we don't have to have a license to carry this. So I'm good now. But this here, it tells you, it gives you a picture of yourself. The person in the mirror is not the person. Is not the issue. Michael Jackson had this song, The Man in the Mirror. There is no man in the mirror. If I don't like something on my face, like right here, I can't go in the mirror and change it. I have to change it from the outside. And when I change
Yeah.
it from the outside, the reflection will then tell me whether or not I'm satisfied with that piece of me that I don't like looking back at me. So here's the first place that you need to start. We got to
Mm.
be real open and honest. And I'm going to be deadly honest with you tonight because it's a shake up. You can't leave the same way you came in. Otherwise, you were not
Right.
shaken up. So we're going to shake up. So here it is. Take a good look at this person that's looking back at you in the mirror. And that's the person you got to deal with. Your relationship with this person is so significant. We call this within the South, intrapersonal relationship. Okay. You're dealing with you.
Okay.
Now the way you see yourself will determine how you are able to get along with other people. Because at some point, you might begin to hide parts of yourself that you are not happy with. When you put
Okay.
the mirror on you, you're not happy with it. So you're 50, you get all that makeup stuff, your eyebrow, and you know how you do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know
Yes.
how you do. And that's because there is something about that you don't like yourself, but you just want to look a little bit different. You want to present a little bit different. Well, this stuff out here does not stop you from presenting the way you experience yourself, like right here. You know what I'm saying? So those relationships with your dad and with your children, what is it about? So here's a question then, okay?
Mm.
Researchers ask why questions. So what is it about you that makes you see yourself the way you are? If you're
Mm.
to describe yourself, what is it about you that makes you see yourself the way you are? The answer does not come from outside yourself. It comes from inside
Right.
yourself. So now you got to be really
Right.
honest, and look in the mirror and say, hey, this is who I am. Go ahead.
What is it about myself
Right.
that makes me? You got to say that one again for me,
What is it
Doctor.
about you, okay, that make you, okay, let me, you're not seeing yourself. You are experiencing yourself.
Mm.
What is it about you that makes you experience yourself the way you experience yourself? And the way you experience yourself will determine how you interact with other people. how you show yourself, your vulnerability, all of those things. So what is it about
Mm,
you, that because there's this general, Deb, that's right, there's this general person. So what is about you that
yeah.
makes you do that, just, display yourself or behave that way with yourself so that you can have because we're trying to get to what's about you that's making you have the quality relationship you have with your dad. Now, it may not all be about you.
Okay.
It's got to be about your
Okay.
dad too. So go ahead. What's about
Hmm.
you?
I wonder if, because I know that I'm complicated. I know
Okay.
that I overthink a lot.
What do you mean by
And it's
overthink? What do you mean by that?
I
Overthink.
there you can't ever say something to me and I not have a follow-up question. Everything that people say to me, I have another question about what they said. And then I take that, in my opinion, sometimes I'm down a rabbit hole. I overthink it and process it and have a hard time just relaxing and just going with the flow type of vibe. So
Okay.
I think that that affects my relationships with my children. I know for sure. I'm not so sure if it affects my relationship with my dad, but with my children for sure, because I'm raising them. And I don't know if
You're
I'm
an
still
adult.
raising them. They're in
No,
their
listen,
20s.
you're an
Right,
adult.
right, right. But I feel like when I was raising them, I was
Yeah.
really, really hard on them in terms of my expectations. And so I think a part of that comes from the fact that I was a single parent and I was overthinking everything, trying not to fail and to, cause them any more harm than they had already experienced without having their dad.
Okay. So you're the single parent trying not to fail. You can't fail at being a parent because parenting is qualitative. It is the degree to which you are able to achieve something. And the thing about parenting children is this: it's not like trying to clean this mirror where you do a good job or you don't, because they are their own person. And when
Mm-hmm.
that person over there come into contact with you, the other person over here, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the final outcome that you want. Some
Right.
we have this little shakeup, right? And because
Yeah.
because of that, because they are who they are, they necessarily will want to express themselves in their own particular way. And you're saying to yourself, I'm a single parent, and this is what I want you, this is how I want you to be. Now, here's something, Deb, that some single parents may have done or may still be doing. Okay. Just because you are a single parent, it doesn't mean that you should have a different expectation of yourself as a parent.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying here? The issue is not whether
Yeah.
you're married, single. The point here is as a parent. So what does that mean to you as a parent when you were parenting your children? Because if you're talking about failing, you might be saying, hey, listen, I I don't want to fail at Deb. Or is it I don't want to fail at parenting?
Mm-hmm.
Which one,
Right.
where are you with that?
It was probably it's probably the first. I don't want to fail at Deb.
In the past, what does failure mean to you in the past?
Just disappointment, not living up to someone's expectation, not living up to my own expectation.
Yeah, but what's more important, living up to somebody else's expectations or you living up to your expectation? Because here's the deal: if you're not clear on your expectation of yourself and your picture of yourself as you interface with other people, you maybe want to say, well, I want to live the kind of life that will make that person over there happy. And the more you say that that person over there needs to be happy at my expense, okay, you kind of dump you and start running your sense of yourself through their head, putting it back on you. And you say, as long
Mhm.
as I can please that person there, okay, I'm going to be okay.
Right.
Did
Yep.
you?
I think there's a lot of that. Yes, for sure.
You did.
Yep. I think I did.
When you were doing that, did you know you were doing that, or you kind of looking back on that right now and saying, listen, I did a lot of that?
I didn't realize it at the time. I think it's looking back as I age that I realized I was doing that.
Okay, so now that you're looking back as your age, what are you thinking? Not about not let's not talk first about what are you thinking about dead. See, it's this question of who am I? Who are you? And if we can work, we're going to work on that. Who are you tonight so that you're not worried about what other people might think or what you think other people are thinking about you, because what you think other people are thinking about you should not be more powerful or more important than what you experience about yourself.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
so I'm trying to get you to say, listen, this is that, this is me.
Right.
I'm not saying that you should be egotistical. That's not what I'm saying. But
Right.
you certainly need to be able to put yourself in a place where you're saying, this is me. And the question is, are you satisfied with who you are?
I would say yes, I am.
You're satisfied with who you are? Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Have you always been satisfied, or how'd you get?
Yeah. I think I'm fairly confident. Um, the goals that I set for myself, I've accomplished. Um, I like who I am. I do. That's a part of the struggle. It's like I think I'm amazing. I don't know why other people might not, but I feel like I'm amazing.
You do. Okay. Oh,
Absolutely.
okay. So what is it about you? I asked that question. So what is it about you that make you think or feel that you are
Yes.
an amazing person? It's not enough to say, hey, listen, I think, I feel I'm an amazing person. If you don't have a foundation to go back to saying, because of this and that and the other, I think or I know I am an amazing
Hmm.
person. Now, I might say, you ain't no amazing person. How do you deal with that when somebody says, hey, there ain't nothing amazing about you?
Right. That doesn't bother me at all because I know, Dr. Kidd, I know that I have accomplished a lot in my life. I know that I have raised two amazing children that are also accomplishing amazing things in their lives. Um, I'm at peace with who I am. I have a lot of I don't know how to call it.
Go
I
ahead.
have a lot of things that I can pinpoint along the way. I'm a great friend. I'm a great mother. I'm a great sister. I'm a great daughter. I treat people well. I mean, there's a laundry list of reasons why I think I'm a great person. And
What
so, yep,
what would happen if somebody took that laundry list and challenged and challenged the laundry list? Now,
yeah,
what would you do then if somebody was to
I'd be
challenge the
fine
laundry
with
list?
it. I can defend everything on the list, Dr. Kidd. I can defend everything on the list.
Okay. Now, does the laundry list, is it just a laundry list, or is it your experience of yourself that you happen to write down into a laundry list? Because go ahead. Be,
It's
be,
a laundry list.
it is. Now,
Yes, it is.
okay, so let's go back to who am I? Is that the laundry list? Is that your what, your when, your where, your why, your how? All those things that you can do that people can see. What is a behavior? When is a time? Where is a place? How is method? So, are you more concerned with that, or are you willing to be able to say, even when people don't like the list that I've created to describe myself, can you say at that point, but I'm still okay with me?
Absolutely. And I realize that even though I feel like I'm amazing, I'm
Right,
a work in progress. There
right,
is certainly still room for improvement. Absolutely.
right. I'm glad you said it, because I was going to ask you this, that even though you are good with who you are, you're okay with who you are, are you willing to go through process of change? And here's what it is. You know that every change costs you. There is a cost to change.
Mm,
So when you change, okay,
hmm.
there are some people who will like you the way you were.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
you change from that, you see, when you change from that, they are having difficulty. You know why? Because they required you to be the kind of person that you were before or behave that way so that they can have a predictability about their own lifestyle, and they
Mhm.
require you to be in this pigeonhole so that their lives can be good. But now you're saying, but me, this person, I am not satisfied with me anymore. I want to change. And so now they're going to have a problem with you at all. You think you are that, or whatever they might say, you know. And
Yeah.
so now you got to get you a new set of friends. How is that going to work for you?
Uh, you know, I'm open to it. I'm open to it. The areas where I feel like I could be a better me,
Yeah,
whoever I lose along the way, I just lose along the way. I'm okay with that.
you are.
I am.
But you know though that the degree to which the relationship is significant, the interpersonal relationship is significant. The deeper and the longer and the more enduring and endearing the relationship is, okay, the more you begin to pour yourself into that relationship to the point where you're no longer talking about, I have this relationship. Now it becomes an experience for you. The relationship becomes an experience. So you're not sharing things with this person anymore. You're sharing your experience, and your experience is the deepest part of yourself. What do
Mm.
you do? What do you do? What do you do when you have to, because you want to change and you have a significant connection with this other person over here? You want to change, but they don't want you to change. What do you do then? What happens to you then when you have to do that, and when you decide that you're going to change, you leave a part of you over there in that person. You can't take it
Mhm.
because it's not structural. What happens
Right.
to you when you go through that and discover that, wait a minute, I really got along with this person, but because I want to change and they want me to stay the same so that their lives can be the same, how you gonna make the decision to change and be okay with that and be okay with your loss?
Um, it's definitely going to have to be, depends on who it is that I'm going to lose
Right.
by making the change. If it's someone that, like you said, that's not invested, that hasn't been around, and it's not a deep relationship with, that's easy. I don't have a problem with that. If it's someone closer to me, um, a parent, a child, a sibling, that the relationship is valued and it's not as easy to throw away, um, there has to be a conversation. And I'm not against having a conversation explaining why I'm making the change and why I'm doing that for me, and how I hope that they understand why I'm doing it and, you know, respect it, right? In the process.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with having the conversation. And I say that now, and as I'm saying it, I'm thinking to myself of a situation where it would be really, really difficult to have the conversation. And I probably avoided the conversation for years. But there needs to be some change because I'm afraid to even voice what I want to the person. Um, so that they can understand what I want, so they understand if I don't get it, what changes I have to make to protect myself.
Right. So when you have to, you're afraid to voice this thing because of some degree of fear. Now, what's more important though? And I
I
know it's
know.
hard. I know it's hard to overcome your fear. You know, fear is hard. I mean, you can't see it. It's just stuck like right here. But what happens if you're having difficulty overcoming your fear, but also wanting to pursue this new direction that you're going in? So what are you going to do? Is you know one of I think it was Yogi Berra. You know, I think he was played for the Yankees. You know, way back. and he made what I think is one of the most profound statements. I think it's profound because my head is not that great. I think, don't laugh at me now. You laugh at me. He said, listen, here it is. He said, when you come to the fork in the road, take it. That is such a profound statement. Because when you come to the fork in the road, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 choices available to you. You can go to the right, you can go to the left, you can go back, or you can stay right where you are.
Oh.
Yeah. You see? Yeah.
That's horrible.
Most people think for you to go right or left, but I'm saying, no, 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 no. You can go to right to the left, go back,
Yeah.
or you can stay frozen. Now, when you go back, what are you going to go back to, though?
Yeah.
Going back to
It's
what you
not,
moved away from.
yeah.
Have you ever found?
Back is not an option. Back is a bad option, right?
Well, I can't tell you that. It's going to depend on you. It's going to depend on you.
Hmm.
It's going to depend on you because going back may not be such a bad option if you didn't think this thing through with all of the difficulties. Going back is not necessarily a failure. Going back might let you know that, listen, I've come to this place in my life and the
Hmm.
resources to move forward is not
Hmm.
necessarily available to me right now. So going back, and we should never feel ashamed about going back thinking that we messed up and we are losers. That's not what it
Yeah.
is. It might be that at some point you have this new epiphany, you have this idea, you thought it through and you say, listen, I think going back would be a good idea because I didn't think this thing through carefully. Or not only did you not think it through carefully, but the question might be, Deb, you know, did you think it through, but you're acting on your emotions?
Mm.
You know,
Okay.
did your
Yeah.
emotions will drive you to get something, but thinking it through, because you're having this conversation in your head and says your left brain, your cognition saying, man, you don't need to do that. And your right brain said, yeah, but I like it. And your left brain said, Dad, don't do it. It's going to cost you all that money. You got to pay the rent.
Hmm.
And I still love it though, man. I'm going to look cute in this. Dad, just leave me alone. Let me just go ahead and okay. You see, these
Hmm.
things happen to people. And so sometimes going back is not
Mm.
necessarily a retreat. It may be saying, listen, I didn't think this thing through as carefully as I needed to because I was working with my emotions, trying to satisfy a piece of me without thinking it through.
Yeah. Yep.
You know,
I get that.
so you get that. So Yogi says, when you come to this place, have you ever been in the fork in the road?
Yes.
What was it like?
Yes.
What was it like?
It's that overthinker in me. I could have stayed there for days or months trying to decide which way to go. And so yeah, it's conflicting to be at that fork in the road. And often I think I find myself selecting the path that is emotionally easier for me,
Do
as
you know why?
opposed to the one that might have been smarter. Um, if I had to guess at why I do that, it's because it satisfies an immediate and a long-term need that I have. So at the moment, it's just like, this is, yeah, let me just do this. It's easier. It's going to satisfy me. It's that instant gratification route. And so that's probably, if I had to guess, it's why I would do that. That would be why.
Yeah, you're
Not
right.
necessarily thinking all the way down the road, you know?
Right. You're absolutely right because your emotions are kind of tied to your pleasure center, anyways. You want to do this thing, and so you got to be very careful about that because because most of us, a lot of us, we don't work on what we think. because there's no pleasure over there in what we think, unless when we think about, say, man, it's going to feel good if I can do what I think I'm going to do. And so here we are feeling this thing, and we go down that road. So here you are. You're in a fork in the road. Relationship with your dad, relationship with your children, as being a single mother, divorced.
Yes.
Yeah. So you are at a fork in the road
Yes.
in all of these relationships that you were in terms of your husband, your ex, and your father and your children. And then here you are, and there are different roads. Your dad's down one road, your children down another road, your ex is behind you saying, I ain't going back. And so you're here saying, and then you ask, but what do I want from me, for me, from me, for me, like right now, so that I can get to feel and think about myself the way I want to feel and think about myself. What do you do when you get to that fork in the road? Because you get there, you're there like right now.
Hmm. I call Dr. Kid.
You know what?
I don't know.
Listen, I heard about that guy. He's halfway crazy, so you don't want to call him.
I don't know. And I think I'm not making the right decision at that fork. I'm choosing to continue some of the bad behavior and continuing to enjoy the habits of those bad choices. It's like I know it's not right, but it's just easier right now. I just don't want one other thing to deal with to try to figure out. I'm just going to do this because I'm used to doing it. It's a habit. And so I'm just going to keep on doing this and I'll figure it out tomorrow or the next day or next month. But that's the easy thing to do because it's just one more thing. If I don't do the easy thing, I'm doing something that I have to overthink, possibly, and that creates more work for me. And I'm looking for less emotional work.
Okay. Now you've used the word overthink maybe about 3, 4 times. No, no, no. Can you give me a concrete example of a situation where this overthinking was in place?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So the one that just jumps out immediately is I'm an attorney and I'm licensed in one state and I was moving to another state and I had to study for the exam. The exam questions are designed for you to answer them in a minute, right? There's like 200 multiple choice questions. And literally, the amount of time they give you, when you do the math, you have to answer the question in under a minute in order to finish the exam. And I cannot seem to do that. I'm reading the question. I know that I have to answer it with less than a minute, but as I'm reading it, my mind goes here. I'm thinking of this. What about that? I'm creating facts and just doing all types of things that further delay me from selecting an answer in less than a minute. That's what jumps out at me.
Yeah.
Right.
So okay. So you're going through this overthinking. If you had time, if you were not under the gun, you didn't have the pressure, but you had time to say a couple of minutes, 3 minutes. If you had time to do it at your leisure, you know, would you be able to do better? You think
I think.
in the outcome?
I think.
Because instead of
Um,
overthinking, what would your thinking process be like?
I would just have to recognize the way that the question is designed. They only want you to go in this one direction. They don't want you to do what I'm doing. The questions have been the same for years and years and years. They're just trying to get a basic surface level answer, just to know that you know, generally speaking, which way to go. They don't want you to do what I'm doing, which is taking the question apart word by word and then coming up with other hypotheticals. That's not what they want. They want you to just boom recognize. Oh, this is about a contract. Oh, this is about a crime. Oh, this is about an accident. They want just a general. They know that they're giving you 200 questions and they're giving you an hour. So they know you can't get into it like that. They just want you to be able to spot something, but I can't seem to do it. I spot it, but then I spot other things. And so then I go down this rabbit hole of other things when I know I don't have time to do that.
Okay. Now, yeah, do you do that in other areas of your life too? What would be a concrete example of you doing that in other areas of your life? But before you answer, let me just say this here. I'm like you. I'm terrible. I'm terrible at multiple choice.
Yes,
I don't like to give me an essay question and I'm good. You know,
right.
I'm good. But when it comes to multiple choice, I will think, and the person who I spoke to about this, you know, I was very concerned about my inability to do well on multiple choice. They said that you think things over so much that you will make the wrong answer seem right.
Okay. Then we're twins, Dr. Kid. We are twins because that is exactly what I do. And that's just that area. You said give you an example of another area.
Because something like you, because this is not just to say, hey, listen, let's go share some information. You have relationships that you are in and relationships that you came out of.
Yep.
So did you overthink your way as you were going through these, as you're coming out of these?
Um, could be. My kids complain about it all the time. They say they can't ever just say to me, boom, like such and such. They'll say, oh, mom, my roommate, her name's Marianne. And I can't just say, oh, hey, Marianne. I'm like, where's Marianne from? You know, how is she? What's her major? And they're like, we just said my roommate's name was Marianne. That's it. That's it. But there's always a follow up question. Rarely can you make a statement and I don't have a question behind it
Do
after it.
you go into relationships like that?
I'm dating like that right now, Dr. Kid. I have so many questions all the time. My brain doesn't stop. And I really feel like that's a part of, you know, what challenges me because I just have so many questions. I can't just, you know, I'm very rarely on the surface. I'm very intentional with everything. I'm paying attention to what you're saying. I'm listening. I'm remembering. And I just don't know that that works well all the time, especially in the dating world.
Now, is that you because of who you are, or is that how your training, where your trainers landed you to say, well, listen, I'm an attorney. I have to think in discrete terms. I can't just go general surface. Somebody's life or whatever it is on the line and it's on
Yeah.
me. So I have, I got to go through this with a fine tooth comb. But if are you like that? Is that who you are? Because if you're not, then how do you separate those two parts of yourself?
I feel like I can't tell anymore, right? I've been
Mm,
practicing now for so long that I'm not sure if that's who I am or that's who I've become.
okay.
And I'm not necessarily upset with it because I'm just inquisitive. I read a lot. I want to understand things. If I can't understand it, I can't do it. And I'm okay with that part of my personality. But sometimes I wish I could just sit down, have a glass of wine, and just zone out, and be in a social environment and not be looking around trying to figure everything out. And then sometimes I feel like it's expected of me.
Okay.
I've had people like my dad and other family members. We're at a social event. We had a barbecue or family reunion. They coming over asking me legal questions. It's like I'm supposed to be on all the time. So
But
I've had to create boundaries around myself.
but wait a minute. They're coming over to you, asking all these
Yeah.
legal questions.
Yep.
But if you are always overthinking, it means that you're always in that spot. So your boundary is permeable. So they will come over and say, well, oh, Deb, we can ask her this right now. Did you
Yep.
set that up because of you being the way that you are, and overthinking? I mean, so when do you stop and say, who's Deb? When do you
Hmm.
stop and do that? Or is there something about Deb that you might discover that you may not want to discover and or deal with? And so what you do is you go down this overthinking road where you become very philosophical in your head, but it takes you away from getting in touch with the part of you that other people wants to get in touch with when you get that deep into a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to know how to stop doing it.
It
If
might
somebody could tell me how to stop doing it, I would love that.
shake up. It may be that you are afraid of pain.
Definitely afraid of pain. That's not a question. Physical and emotional pain. Don't
Yes.
like it.
And so, therefore, you act out in a way to do what? To discourage people from coming to that part of you that is likely to suffer the pain, which is the emotional side, the soft side. And so, therefore, you become this well articulate woman, and that is your defense side. And you do that. And then what I'm thinking about, if I was at a barbecue with you, you'd be talking about the sun, the moon, the star. I mean, you'd be talking about everything else except who's you.
Me.
Yes.
Yep. Facts.
Yeah.
That's a fact, Dr. Kid.
It's a fact. But okay, so you're dating right now. So how do you expect this dating to go any differently from the datings that you did in the past? If that's your way of interfacing with people, what do you want? Do you want this kind of a relationship with somebody, or do you want somebody that can accept you as you are? Are you willing to be vulnerable to do that, so that this person won't see an attorney? They will see Deb, the person, as opposed to attorney Deb, the person who goes to court and carry on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Which of
Hmm.
those you want to? Do you want to get married? Do you want to marry off the attorney, or you want to marry Deb off to somebody else?
Right. Vulnerability is not easy for me. That's definitely something I'm working on.
Okay, but you do know why, though, right? I mean, it's not just, hey, it's hard for me to be vulnerable. There's a reason
Oh,
for that. There's a reason for that.
absolutely.
Told me why. I mean, married twice, right?
Absolutely.
And we ain't even talked about that
And
yet.
and that right. We didn't even talk about all the bad relationships in between the marriages. So yeah, I definitely know why I'm where I am for sure.
Yeah,
Horrible relationships.
right. And I didn't want to go down there, because yeah,
We don't have enough time for all that.
don't have enough time, but things work better when there is a therapeutic alliance, a good alliance, to just jump right into that. It's almost to just go do surgery without anesthesia. And that's not what the shakeup is all about. The shakeup is to get you to reframe your mind and ask yourself the question, what is it about me that's making me do this or not do this? It's not,
Mhm.
the shakeup is really not for me. I'm just shaking it. But you on the inside of what's being shaken, you got to ask yourself, to what degree is it uncomfortable to be shaken? And do I want to stop the shaking? Because if I stop the shaking, my life will settle, just like when you make your favorite juice and, out of 3 or 4 or 5 different things, you make a nice little juice. After a while, everything settles to the bottom, and what you have is just the liquid on top. So if you settle in your relationships with people, all they're going to do is get the liquid out of there, but the character structure and the parts of Deb that matter, it would be down here. They're not going to go down there. Why? Because you got a cap on that bad boy. You say, no, you ain't getting down that far. And so you'll
Mhm.
try to probably avoid the shakeup.
Right.
You're not going to grow past the settling part to get to why? Because the shakeup was going to remind you of all of these things that you have had in the past that did not go well or that may still be hurting, not resolved, all of this stuff. And so here you won't grow past where you are if you don't shake it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Right.
really won't. You know, so what do you think about that? We're gonna start to wind it down now a little bit. So what do you think
Hmm.
about what I'm saying here, Deb? You know, that in certain types of relationship, if your defense is intellectual anecdotal stories, the relationship becomes an anecdotal story. But what about you that would make you say, and so let me just throw something else in here, Deb. You know what the word trust means, right?
Yes.
Trust. Trust.
Yes.
And as analytical as you are, seems to me that you have issues with trust.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, let me tell you this. Do you know that the first person that you need to check your trust meter with is you? How well do you trust Deb?
Mm.
As opposed to how well does Deb trust A, B, C, D, E, or F? You know,
So
you know,
hmm
I'm going to when I go, when I go swimming. I used to swim really well, but right now, when I go into a pool, I'm not going any deeper in the water than I'm willing to trust myself to save myself. Because if there's
right.
nobody else around who may not think I'm very important, they won't want to come and save me. So I can trust them to do that. You understand what I'm saying? Ian? So I
Yes, I do.
so my trust begins with my capacity to trust myself to save myself from pain. And I think that's probably one of the things that why you're so intellectual.
Mm. I can't argue with you there. I cannot argue with you there. That makes a lot of sense.
And so when you're getting into relationships, if you use the swimming pool, I will walk into my ankle, walk up to my calf, I walk up to my knees, I walk up to my thighs, I walk to my waist. I say, that's it. I don't trust myself to go any further than my waist. I don't trust myself to be more vulnerable than up to my waistline information about me.
Right. Right.
Why?
Yeah.
Because above the waistline is where I begin to demonstrate my vulnerability. I don't know how people will trust me. I don't know if I can trust people to save me
Hmm.
because I don't know their investment in me and their capacity to want to save somebody. How do they see me as a person, not just as another woman?
Hmm. Hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
So that trust
Mm.
issue, where are
Yeah.
you?
It's
Where are
not
you?
just, it's low because I don't feel like I've made good decisions romantically
Okay.
in the past. And so everything else I think I've done, I'm okay with the results because they turn out in my favor. But romantically, it's like I don't trust the choices I make in men. And so that that prevents me from even wanting to. I was like, my picker is broke. Like I feel like somebody else needs to put somebody in my path. Don't let me have anything to do with it. Because if I have anything to do with it, I'm gonna pick the person who's not compatible, who's not emotionally available. Those are the choices that I've been making. So I'm not trusting my own selections.
Is it that they won't be compatible with the outcome you're looking for? What if they're compatible with your history? That's what you went through, and so therefore, because of the compatibility of your history, it's driving you to pick certain kinds of men, okay, that you feel that you are comfortable with. But being comfortable with something won't get you to where you need to be, because sometimes you have to be uncomfortable so that you can grow past where you're stuck.
Mm,
Uh,
bingo. That's scary.
Is it though?
Being uncomfortable
Yeah.
in a relationship so that I can grow past
Where you're
the
stuck.
block.
Yes.
Yes, that's hard. It sounds hard. I haven't tried it yet, but that sounds hard.
Yeah. Of course, it's hard. And
That
it's
sounds hard. I'm not sure if that's even doable.
oh, you don't think you have the ability or the capacity to make it doable?
Say it again.
You don't think you have the ability or the capacity to make it doable? You determine
I'm
if whether or not it's doable. The other person don't determine that. You determine if you want to invest or if you can pay, if you're willing to pay the cost of what it's going to get there.
right, right. Yeah, that's I'm sure I can do it. It's not that I can't. It's going to be a challenge to be uncomfortable in a selection.
Now, here's what it is. Are you going to be uncomfortable in the selection process, or are you going to be uncomfortable here about you and the way you see yourself, wondering if your best presentation will be acceptable to them?
Nope, I'm not worried about my best presentation being acceptable. I'm
What?
worried about being uncomfortable in the selection.
Oh, you don't want to make the wrong selection, right?
And we right back to square one. Yes, right. I don't trust myself to make the right selection.
See, okay, so now, right. And so the question then becomes, what is it about me that make me not able to trust to make the right selection? And or a secondary question, what is about me that make me not able to trust myself? And the degree to which you're not able to trust yourself to make the right selection, you're going to be a girl. I just saw this guy, man. He's so good. Let me tell you about him. And oh yeah, he's now you're getting her to make your decision, and she's not having your experience of this person. She's having her experience of herself experiencing you. But
Mm-hmm.
she's not going anywhere close to your experience of that.
No.
So growing past your ability or your need to tether yourself to somebody else's thinking process, because you're the one that's going to have to live with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
they might be available at some point,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's going to cost
Yeah.
them to be available for
Yeah.
you. You know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so who do you need to trust the most? Deb.
Myself. Yeah.
What do you do when you get to the fork in the road? Sometimes you just have to stop and think things through. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It is never necessarily a bad thing to go back, because if the decision was made prematurely or without enough information, okay, because you had this idea that I think it's going to feel good and I want it to satisfy me. But then when you get there and you start thinking about, oh, it's going to cost me this to satisfy these feelings, then you begin to think things through in a different way. So, so before you commit to something or commit to an idea or commit to a behavior or commit to something that you want, there's nothing wrong with thinking it through. And I wouldn't call that overthinking. I'm talking about that is what you might need to do. That's when you need to think about Deb as opposed to what Deb can get out of this thing satisfying her feelings.
Right.
You know. So no,
Mm.
so it might sound like it's overthinking. I'm not going to take that away from you. Yeah, you want to be an overthinker. That's all right with me. It's all right
I
with me.
like it. Okay, good.
You, you like it? Okay.
Yeah, I
We're gonna,
do.
we're gonna wind it down now. We're gonna wind it down because we just
Okay.
have a few. Listen, listen, Deb. I really want to thank you for hanging in there with me tonight.
Sure thing. Sure thing. It was my pleasure. I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it, huh?
I think I learned a lot. I'm gonna have to go back now and process, overthink some of the things that you said to me tonight. But yeah, I feel like it was on point. It was necessary, and I need to hear it.
Yeah. And so go back and do your personal shakeup, and your personal shakeup is just taking you out of your comfort zone to another place and
Okay.
experiencing all of yourself in that blending process where it is settled like a sediment at the bottom. When you shake it up, everything is just like having a kaleidoscope, just moving with and against and through and for with each part. And then when you get there, you get a full experience of who you are at any one moment. But it can be uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable because the
Hmm.
reason people settle in relationships a lot of times is because they just can't. Some people say, "I just can't be bothered to fight no more." And you're still in it. Yep. What you gonna do? You love being in it? No, but you just can't.
Hmm.
And see, they settle. And I'm saying,
Yeah,
no, no, you deserve more than that. You deserve more.
that's right.
So
Yeah.
again, Miss Deb, thank you for coming
Thank you,
on.
Dr. Kid.
You did
No problem. Thank you.
an amazing job. And we're going to be in touch, right?
Okay. Yes, we will.
Yeah,
Yes, we will.
be in touch with you. And again, thank you all so much. And then I just want to thank thank those of you who listened in today. I see there are some comments out there somewhere. I'm sure somebody want to chop me up into pieces like right about now, but that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. But I really want to thank you for just tuning in. And even if you don't agree with everything I said, at least share it. If you don't agree with everything that I said, don't jump all over me. Ask yourself this question. It's the existential question. What is it about me that makes me don't like what he's saying? Think about what he's saying. Think he's crazy. It's never about what is it, that something's wrong with him. No, no, no. There's nothing wrong with anybody. The question is, what is it about me? Because we live our lives for us, in us, through us, no matter what we do, it's always about the self. All right. So thank you all so much. And we'll be doing this every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time. So come back and join Dr. Kit in the shakeup and bring along a few of your friends with you, and things will go just right. Okay. So thank you so much. Have yourselves a good night. Bye-bye.